He's doing really well. He's having obviously our normal structured meetings that we have this time of year with our requirements that we have with him. And you see him making strides. He's not out on the grass, obviously, but he's doing a lot of things within the classroom and outside the building to get himself ready.
With Blair Brown, what are the expectations for him at Sam?
Well, I think the biggest thing is, he just has to be consistent. It's a situation, it's a new position change for him. So each time he sees something, it's new for him. But you see each and every day he goes out, he's getting better. And we're excited about the development of him and, the guys behind him.
How did Malik handle his conditioning before he got here for OTAs? Because I know it's been an issue.
Yeah, no, he really came in shape. I know he was gone for, a couple weeks, phase one, and a week of phase two, but he came back in shape. His weight is down. We were actually talking about it yesterday with our phase two. He looks good. He's running well, and he took a lot of pride in coming back in shape.
What did he do well for you last year, and what can he build on off of that?
The biggest thing I think with our whole unit is we have to have consistency, down in and down out. But, he did a real nice job affecting the quarterback. He had some good numbers, pressuring the quarterback, sacking the quarterback. And as the season went on, he got better and better versus the run. I know that's a big point of emphasis. Each person has 3 things they did well and 3 things they need to improve on. And, versus the run is consistently for him is the thing that he'll improve on, and he's doing a nice job so far.
You mentioned consistency, Todd. Is that by the big plays, too?
Yeah, big plays. I think we were, 3rd in the league or something like that, 2nd in the league in explosive plays last year. But it's a situation we have to do it down in and down out. We got to be able to eliminate some of those big plays. And if we play consistent fundamental football, obviously with the players that we have a good chance of being successful.
Did you make okay. Doug said on Tuesday that the 3rd and 3 to 6 was the area that he was most concerned on defensively. How do you practice that?
We practice 3rd and 3 to 6. It's kind of simple. We work on that down and distance. But, it's a situation. We study a lot of teams in the league. We figure out what we did well, what we didn't do well, and see what schematically changes we have to make, what other people are doing that are really good in those areas. And, that was a big off-season study, 2 to 6 for us. I know Doug talks 3 to 6, but for us defensively, 3 to 6, I think we were 18th in the league. In that standard. So, we got to do some things schematically, and we just got to do a better job coaching.
What did you give Unique as his top priority for this offseason?
Yannick's?
Yeah.
He comes in and he works his tail off every day. It's amazing. He's the ever-ready bunny. He goes and goes and goes and has a real chip on his shoulder. That's the biggest thing is we want to make sure we keep that chip on his shoulder. And for him, once again, I just think it's consistently. We got good players. It's not where we're lacking in any area. We're just preaching consistency and fundamentals with our group. And once again, if we do it, we're going to be pretty good.
How do you keep a guy's chip on his shoulder? I mean, have you seen guys that have come in the league with it and then they lose it after a year or two? I mean, how do you keep that edge?
I think that's a mental makeup of Jan, first of all. He feels he's not getting the credit he deserves, and he deserves a lot of credit for what he's made himself be in this league. A lot of people said he couldn't do what he's doing, and he's doing it. So, but with him, I think it's just to strive to be the best player possible, and that's his mental makeup.
Do you use it to motivate him?
Oh, yeah. Jan and I have a real good relationship. I know before we drafted him, I was out working him out in Maryland for a couple of days. And, it was important that when we picked him, we've developed a very good relationship. So it's obviously a situation I try to poke and do that kind of stuff to make sure he stays motivated. And it's not hard by any means, but we try to make sure, and I challenge him in the meetings. I try to do the best I can to stump him in front of the group, which I haven't yet. But he's a prideful player, and we're very fortunate to have him.
Sort of along the same lines, Telvin, a guy who made Pro Bowl, a lot of those accolades, he came in sort of the same guy with a chip on his shoulder. How do you keep the motivation there?
Well, once again, usually your good players have that mentality that good isn't good enough. And we're fortunate that we got a lot of them. And Telvin's another one. But he comes in, works. I think where you see Telvin really maturing is obviously with the loss of Puz, that leadership in that room. You see him taking extra time working with the younger guys, regardless if it's Blair all the way down to some rookies. So you really see him maturing within his leadership within the group.
What about the
DJ?
Hayden?
Yeah.
Okay. DJ's done a real nice job. You know, when he was out in Oakland, obviously he was a first-round pick, played a lot of nickel out in Oakland. We evaluated him a year ago, and we liked him as a nickel. So then he goes up to Detroit, doesn't play a lot of nickel, but we knew he had that skill set. We're really kind of locking him in at that position. He's getting a lot of reps in our sub package at nickel, and you see him growing within our package. Once again, you know, we play things a little bit different than maybe Terrell did up in Detroit, and so he's just learning what our expectations are. But you see the explosiveness, the lateral movement that we're looking for, and the instincts that it takes to play nickel.
How about the draft picks, Taylor Bryan, Ronnie Harrison? What's the learning curve been for those guys?
You know, fortunately for the defensive line, it's not a big learning curve. I know we've moved him a little bit farther away from the football playing end, and he will play some inside on third down rushing. But, you know, he's picked it up extremely well. He's a sharp young man. Same thing. You know, we drafted smart players, which is very important in our process where we're at now. We can draft good and intelligent players. So both him and Ronnie are very intelligent. They're adjusting to the package well, and you see their athleticism already showing through.
Ronnie, in particular, seems like he's a very strong blitzer on tape, and he's also got a lot of size. How do you use that to your advantage?
Put him in those situations, obviously. But he's a guy, he's actually, I think, a little bit better than we thought we were going to get. We knew he was an in-the-box safety, round the football, physical player, but now we're seeing him in the middle of the field, you know, back in our two-shell coverages that we run, and you see his athleticism really show through. So, you know, it's going to be, he adds obviously great quality depth to some very good players we have back there with Gippy and Church and Cody and obviously J-Dub. So it's going to be a heck of a battle back there at those two positions.
Cody's getting a lot of work. What have you seen from him so far?
Cody's an extremely good athlete. Same thing, we knew he was a great special teams player coming in. We didn't know a lot about him defensively, obviously. He fits into our package well. You like the size, the speed, the athleticism. He can play in the box. He's very intelligent to get down there and understand run schemes and everything we're asking him to do, and obviously the athleticism to play in the back.
No concerns about Jalen not being here in terms of when he comes back, he'll be in shape and all that stuff?
One thing you don't have to worry about is Jalen working. You know, he's an extremely prideful man. His drive, once again, is very similar to Yannick and Telvin, that he wants to be the best in the league, and he's going to do whatever it takes to get there. We don't worry about it. Obviously, we've been in conversation with him. I'm not worried about him coming back, not being in shape. That's the last thing from our mind. We know, obviously, Jalen, how he prepares, and when he comes back, he's going to be ready to go.
I know you talked about Miles earlier, but what do you like about him full-time in the middle? What can he bring to this spot?
It's the same thing, you know. I mean, he's a very athletic player. He's really understands our system now. He's been in it, you know, 2.5, 3 years now, going on his third. But he gives us the ability to play a lot of different things coverage-wise. You know, he's just so athletic. He can play man. He can play zone. He can do everything that we need him to do. And he's really become a gym rat, which is nice to see. You know, he's not out there physically taking the reps. Does some walkthroughs and all that, so we see and we can, you know, get him schooled up in that area. But he's really become a good student of the game.
Is his full-time role coming at the right time for him?
I think it is. You know, I think when you bring in, you got to understand our system. If you're a linebacker in our system, you make the adjustments. There's a lot of stuff for our linebackers. You know, Mark Collins, when he came here a year ago, he was like, damn, there's a lot of stuff for linebackers. And, yeah, there is. So there's a little bit of a learning curve for them. And usually you start to see it in their second and third year, and we're seeing Miles exactly where we thought we'd see him.
How long did it take you to move on from 3rd and 18?
Let's see. We watched the cut-ups, and then every other time I put in that coverage, I see it. So it still haunts you a little bit. But, you know, just like every game, you learn good things, bad things. You know, would you change things? Would you not change things? I don't think one play determines an outcome of a ball game. I think if you do, you're crazy. But obviously, you know, we would have liked to get off the grass there.
Do you tweak anything in your scheme for this year after all the success last year? You just kind of roll with what you've done?
No. I think you're either getting better or you're getting worse. So, you know, we're going to continue to look and find ways to put our good players in position. I think that's our job as coaches. Yeah, every guy in the league has schemes and that kind of stuff, but we got to find out how to put our best players in position. And if we're going to continue to obviously develop stuff, do things to put our best players in position to be successful and make plays. I think if you're not doing that as a coach, I don't think you're growing.
With Lesney's retirement, do you talk to any of the veterans about maybe assuming more of a leadership role with the younger guys?
I think we have some obviously natural leaders. Obviously, we've had the discussion within the linebacker room, with Telvin and even Miles, that it's time for them to really step up. Telvin's always been a leader, but now he's the leader in that group. So we've talked with him about it, but with our veterans in the back end, there's 4 of them there. Obviously, defensive line, we got a lot of veterans. I think that's just natural for them to lead us on defense. The first day we walked out, I talked to the defense. I said, I don't want to be in the huddle. This is your guys' group. You guys need to take control of this group and take us as far as we need to go. And as coaches, hopefully we can just get the hell out of the way.
What's Calais like now with year 2 going in compared to where he was last year? Get to feel everything out.
He was just feeling it out last year. He didn't know what we were doing schematically, what our expectations were of him. But now he's been through it. You see the leadership, obviously. We've seen that as the year went on. But, he knows his role, what his impact is going to be, and obviously he helps those younger guys.